Today I'm going to tell you how I got into coding and how my journey's been so far. What's up guys, Luke Mancuso here, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to tell you how I started my coding journey and how I'm going so far with it. I started coding back in 2020 when everything locked down. COVID happened, COVID smashed everything, everyone had to isolate in their houses, and I just told myself I need to learn something, do something new, so I started teaching myself a language. But it wasn't computer programming. I started teaching myself Spanish, of all things. I downloaded the Django app. I told myself I wanted to learn a language. I liked the language of Spanish. I don't know if it was because it was sexy or I don't know what it was. I just wanted to learn it. So I started teaching myself Spanish with the help of the Django app, and I sort of got to a point where I was like, why do I want to learn Spanish? It has nothing to do with me. I don't know why I wanted to learn Spanish. So I started looking at other options, and then I came back to what I enjoy doing and what I like, which is the technology aspect. So I started looking up different programming languages to learn. What was a good programming language? And I broke it down to two languages: JavaScript and Python. Now I saw Python was climbing up the ranks, obviously with how advanced it is in the automation side of things and how crazy automation is going at the moment. So I looked at that and wanted to dive into that, but then JavaScript had more popularity around it, and a programmer that I actually know suggested learning JavaScript. So I started diving further into JavaScript. I put the Python thing to the side, told myself I will learn that down the track, but I started focusing on JavaScript, so HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Downloaded a couple of courses from Udemy and a Code Academy course, so I have started working through them. The Udemy course I've finished. I feel like they helped, but at the same time I don't, because I think I was more looking at, as soon as the guy on the on the Udemy course would say something on the video and write down the few lines of code, I would just go, yeah, cool, and just pretty much copy and paste what he had actually written. So I wasn't really, whilst he was somewhat explaining it, I was just sort of following along, copy and pasting it. Yeah, no worries, straight in. So I found that it helped. I learnt bits and pieces and certain small structures, but I felt like I had to really start reading into it on the computer and really understanding each line of code, what each method does, what a for loop does, all that sort of stuff, if statements. And yeah, so I started playing around with those a little bit more until I actually had an understanding of how they actually worked. I also bought a book. So if anyone knows me, I do not like reading. I can't stand reading. But I bought the Eloquent JavaScript book. So I actually bought that because of a few reviews, I guess. I bought that and started reading it, and I took an interest in it. So I actually really did. I really do enjoy the book. But when it comes to me with reading, I feel like I read one or two pages, not even one or two lines, and I forget what that first line, the previous line that I originally read was about. My mind sort of goes wandering and scatters around. So I've actually forced myself to continuously reading it. Whilst I enjoy it, I forget the lines and I wanted to go back, and I think I've read the book twice now. It's like this thick. So this is the Eloquent JavaScript. So this is the book I'm actually reading, nice and thick. You can actually see how I've handled it. It's all like broken and stuff. So it shows that I am handling that very often. I read 2 to 3 pages every night, and I think the main reason I'm reading it is because I almost want it to become embedded in my brain. I found I've had a very, very big challenge on my hands trying to learn coding and a computer language, and whilst it is very fun, there is so many times where I just felt like quitting, and even now I still actually get days where I'm just like, you know what, I'm stopping this. But I just keep pushing forward. I don't know why or what it is, but something just keeps sending me back here. I don't know. I think it's just I really enjoy doing it. So whilst I struggle so hard with it on certain days, some days I'm absolutely smashing it and I'm like, oh, look at this, or look at that, I did this, or I looped through that. And then other days, I don't know why, I just switch off and just can't think. Probably a bit of burnout in the brain, I imagine, that I'm driving so hard because I want it that bad. So it has been very fun, but very challenging at the same time. So if you are actually at that point, just keep going, keep learning, bit by bit. You will actually pick little things up every now and then. That's what I'm doing. I'm just driving through it. The hard times, I feel like I'm forcing my brain even harder to just work overtime, and the next day or a couple of days later I come back and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. So yeah, don't stop. I would recommend not to stop with it, because I haven't stopped. I keep driving with it, and it's so much fun. You do little things, and I think the bigger the projects start to get, the more excitement you actually get out of it. I've built, I think, 4 websites or 5 websites for a couple of people and been paid for it, so that's even more exciting to see your progress actually get some achievement from your progress. So I definitely know that I am achieving. I did a video when I did my very first line of code, and I actually think that was in Python. It was a hello world command to the terminal, and yeah, I was actually so stoked that I did that. I was like, oh wow. And I look back, some days I look at it and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything good with this. But then I remind myself that I went from one line of code, printing hello world, to a terminal and thinking that was cool, to now I actually got paid to build a website. So it shows that whilst it was relatively beginner and all that sort of stuff, I actually being paid to do what I'm trying to learn was actually a massive achievement for me. And I just look back at that and I'm like, well, I am progressing slowly. So yeah, that's really all I was going to actually talk about today. I just wanted to jump on, tell you how I got coding, where I started, how long it's been. So literally, I think it's been 18 months now of just driving right through. So keep pushing, keep going. If you are learning, you will pick it up. You will have bad days, you will have up days, and enjoy.